All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that slight delay. We were trying to get some things going. You have to look up. Everybody know y'all doing business stuff. Y'all busy people, man. We now have the dean in the building, of course. Dr. Kenyatta Cavill has joined the crew. Doc, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I made it into town. Really like the convenience. Literally got off my airplane, did the train inside the airport, and then took the train outside of it.
And you're here.
And I'm here.
5 minutes.
Yep. I walked over to the arena. The next thing I know, I'm inside. All of seemed like 15 minutes.
All right. Your first time here, I'm assuming?
It's the first time in this arena. I've seen it on the outside.
Yeah.
But first time here for a game. Looked at it in that battle.
Your impressions?
I like it. I like the setup. I like everything. When they made a decision, I was all in. But it's living up all to the hype. It's really good size for where the SWAC is right now. I like the location because you have a major city, which means you have a lot of alumni. So I think as you get deeper in the tournament, a lot of people will come by and celebrate not just their team, but you'll get a lot of HBCU fans, and not just SWAC fans, but HBCU fans in general that wants to celebrate the culture. They'll be here as you get closer to it. So I like everything about it. The nice setup where they have easy access for people that want to get a paraphernalia. Nice stuff here too. As I'm looking about it, kind of feeling guilty that I would be spending some more money, but fortunately for me, they don't have Prairie View, Texas Southern. I guess we're on the east side, so you got more of the east side stuff. But it still looks good. It really looks good.
I really didn't pay attention.
Drinks, food, everything set up. The way they got the setup for the sponsors and vendors looks good as well.
Yeah, like it obviously for those who are in the Atlanta metro area, because you can ride the water down here also and not have to worry about parking. So, get on the water for a couple of dollars and come on into the arena.
Yeah, if you like me these days, that being able to not have to worry about parking, driving through traffic, get on the train. I like everything about it again. And we had some good games and we had some blowouts. So that's what happens when you start getting in the tournament. You just never know.
Yeah. Speaking of blowouts, Dr. Cavill, Southern defeated Valley by a score of 63-43. Quickly going down the stats for that. For Southern, 63 points or 21 to 66 shooting. Only shot. Was it me, Dr. Cavill, or was the game just kind of like blah, despite Southern dominating? Because they only shot 31.8%, and Valley in the loss didn't shoot too much better. They only shot 33%, but they only got up 42 shots versus Southern getting up 66 shots. So that made a big difference. Other huge difference: 25 turnovers by the Devil X versus 18, and points off of turnovers. Southern had 21 points off of those turnovers. Off of those turnovers, Dr. Cavill. Your analysis, just quick analysis of the game.
That's when it really got out of control. Those turnovers. But you're right, and some people would say blah. The other part of that is the fact that the pace. There wasn't a lot of pace in this game, and Southern could really take advantage of that because they control the game in such a way. And then you capitalize on the turnovers. Early on, there was a chance where you thought Valley could make it a game, and then quickly as they had a couple of turnovers, it got away from them really quick.
Yeah. Wait, I know in the third quarter, I remember specifically the score was 45-35, and I was sitting next to Charles Bishop, and we both said now's a good time for Valley to make this run. And it was 45-35 about 2 minutes later. And I swear Valley scored 2 points in about 8 minutes of clock time there, Dr. Cavill, from the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, to your point, early on, they just went 5 of 16, as you said, on threes. But 2 of those threes were banked in. And you're like, okay, maybe they got something rolling here.
And one of them was at the end of
the first quarter. First quarter.
Yeah.
And that was after the second one, which was during the first quarter, which when the game was somewhat close. When you talk about that in terms of that, specifically when you look at that point, it was just Southern 15-10. So he's like, oh, okay, maybe we can get a little action here, make it entertaining. And then quickly in that second quarter, they started to creep away, 19-13, and they really put it out of the misery in the third quarter when it went on a 20-12 run to close out that quarter. The fourth quarter was pretty much even, 9-8, but the damage was done by the end anyway.
Yeah. A couple other key stats. Points in the paint, Southern 24, Valley 12. And talk about your full team contribution. Southern had 27 bench points compared to Valley's 2.
That's one thing that luxury that Southern has is that they are very deep and they can get scoring for a lot of people. Now, what that helps you is it's hard for anybody to focus on somebody that is the go-to person, to guard them. But as we seen earlier in the upset that y'all mentioned, watched with Southern and Grambling, when you don't necessarily have a go-to person, when you need a bucket in a close game, it can hurt you. And I think that's what happened in that game. We'll see if that is a difference for Southern. If they can beat everybody like this, you don't have to worry about it. You just push them out the way, and you don't have to worry about folks getting tight or somebody needing a bucket. You just keep playing your game, and eventually you just take over, control the momentum, and do what's necessary to be successful.
Yeah. Last thing, leading scores for Southern, Gourdin and Reed both had 13. Sanders had 10, leading rebounder with Lidge with 10 rebounds. And Fontaine, had 4 assists on the day. And for Mississippi Valley, the leading scorer was Reed with 15. Something about the name Reed on these teams today going to be your lead scorer. And Murphy had 10. Brackett had 11 rebounds. And Murphy with 6 assists for the Devilettes.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you have to say about this, Southern did what they were supposed to do. Yeah. Southern controlled the game early, made sure there was no doubt. But credit to Valley. They got their big win. They were doing more than what they – I wasn't going to say the name. I just said it. They got their big win. And so they really did above and beyond what they needed to do, particularly when you think about they wasn't led by the head coach. That was the assistant coach that was getting it done in the last game that allowed them to qualify for the tournament. And then to get the first upset of the tournament was amazing for Valley. So I wanted to make sure we give them a credit. Obviously, you start adding those games up, and it gets tougher as you go deeper in the tournament for 2 things. Usually you play better talented teams, but now you're doing it with heavy legs.
Yeah.
So as you know, playing the game and coaching it before, people don't realize the challenge of getting your feet off the floor for your shot as you accumulate games and how that wears on your body.
Yeah. And let's think about it. Valley, 8 wins on the season. 4 of them have occurred over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
6 conference wins. Once again, 3 of those occurred over the last 2 weeks.
Amazing.
So Valley was peaking at the right time. Obviously, you want to do it all season long. But if you ever are going to peak at this is the time of the year that you want to peak.
Well, since you're looking at peak, that means if you're going to peak, whether you've been losing earlier or you're winning earlier, you want to peak at the right time, which is at the end of the season, regardless. Correct. So credit to them that they kept fighting, right? They kept playing basketball, believing in the various coaches, and even when it's a change of coach, they found a way to be like, okay, let's play some basketball and let's leave it on the court. And they did that. And it's amazing to see.
Yeah. But I think a lot of us looking forward to this matchup tonight, Dr. Cavill.
Oh, that's what everybody wants.
That's real.
Let's talk to it. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. But before we go, we gonna take a break or we gonna get into it, Roy?
Keep going.
All right, we gonna get into it. Fairview, Jackson State, Dr. Cavill. I mean, Fairview 2-0 against the Tigers this season. A contrast of style. Fairview
Contrast of style
with the outside play.
Yep.
Jackson State with the inside play. What say you, Dr. Cavill?
I think it's a fascinating matchup because FAMU is going to want to push the tempo at times, and oddly enough, Jackson State, when they get the moving and flowing, they're going to want to push it as well. But to your point, they want to control it a little more than FAMU. They want to get you up. You saw that against Prairie View. Prairie View jumped out of there. They didn't control that tempo. They kind of probably came in different arenas. Obviously, the news about the star player, which we'll get into a little later, that was conference offensive player of the year. Young. So that's going to be one of the questions going in this. But beyond that is the fact that you got Jackson State as the number 2 seed. Again, we saw what happened to the number 1 seed. Does that help them to kind of be aware of it, or does it tighten them up? And then you just have the natural kind of back and forth. You know, some people don't want to call this a rivalry, so I don't know what you want to call it, but I know
it's a budding rivalry.
I don't care whatever term y'all
How do
want
they
to use.
not figure this is a rivalry already?
I know this much. These teams
don't like each other.
Don't really like each other. Now, everybody can agree on that part of it.
Exactly.
So y'all can call it what you want. I know this. They get up for each other,
yes,
which usually provides excitement in the game. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
Because particularly early in the tournament, you don't always get that. Sometimes you get the natural rivalry games, in-state rivalry games, what I call it.
Like we did earlier today
with Grambling Southern,
with the
which
Bayou
makes
and the 8.
unique games because neither one of them are scared of each other, so you can kind of throw out, you know, your tendencies, and they play so much. And people forget, while Southern beat Grambling in Grambling and beat them handily, so they beat them twice, but that first game in Southern was a nail-biter, went down. In fact, there was a little bit of controversy at the end of the game. So, you know, the players remember that. And while Grambling had a lot of players that were lost in that matchup, they had the experience of cutting down the nets. So why do I say all that for this game? The Southern ended up having some experience since they were here last year. FAMU not. But the benefit of FAMU, they got to play the game yesterday. So they're now a little more comfortable. So I think when you put that all together, I think this is going to be a very exciting game. And I'm fascinated to see the tacticians of the new coach for FAMU versus the all-star coach, if you would, all-brand coach from Jackson State.
Yeah. Now, the question is, A, does Young play?
Yep.
If he does play, how effective will he be? And number 3, if Young doesn't play, Conference Player of the Year, can FAMU beat Jackson State without the Conference Player of the Year?
I don't believe so. They would really have to shoot that 3 at a high percentage. And they can do that. We've seen a couple times this season where they get hot in that 3, they'll shoot anybody for any reason out of the building. I think the thing that they do have some confidence is the fact that they did win a game without him. So if he's not there, they won't be shocked by that. So they'll keep playing into that, and I think that helps them. But I think over the long way and the way that Jackson likes to play so physical, I think that hurts them because you're going to need some points in the game where you're going to need somebody to go get you a bucket. And that's what Young was able to do throughout the season. When they called his number, he can play big. So that's my big concern of not having him. What does that look like for the rest of the tournament?
All right. So let's give everybody a recap of everything today, Dr. Cavill. Got to pull up a SWAC page.
Well, as you do that, you're pulling stuff up. Jackson State is a 61% pick predictor in this matchup, according to ESPN. You have FAMU at just under 39%. So the bettors think one thing, but a lot of times people forget. They do the predictors, and this is not the betting odds, but also sometimes the predictors don't take into account of, you know, being in a different facility, the time of the year, those kind of things. So I'm fascinated in terms of what that looks like. So I'm always intrigued about those matchups. And while you're pulling that up, you know, we remiss if we didn't sneak over there a little bit and give some love to the MEAC with Norfolk State up 73-67 with 45 seconds left in the second half, and they're over Maryland Eastern Shore. So the question is, can Norfolk State hold on? I think this game may be a little closer than some of the people thought.
Is that on the men or the women's side?
That's on the men. That's the men.
Okay.
The way the MEAC does it, they play the 2 men games early. I mean, women games early, and then the men games late.
All right.
Versus the SWAC, you play women men and women.
Yeah. Do you have those women's scores, Dr. Cavill, from earlier?
Yeah, for the MEAC or the SWAC?
MEAC.
For the MEAC, when you talk about the women's games, yes, I got both of them. You have Norfolk State throttled South Carolina State 81-55, and Howard did what they supposed to do against Delaware State 85-49. I don't think that surprised anybody. Those are the number 1 and 2 seeds. They'll take off tomorrow and come back on Friday. But I think you're going to have a collision course for Norfolk State and Howard. As I said on our show as we did the review on championship, I believe Norfolk State Spartans, the women's basketball program, will cut down the nets.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Women's scores from earlier here in Atlanta. Texas Southern 69, Prairie View 49, and of
20
course,
pointers.
Southern 63, Valley 43. Something about 20 pointers.
Yeah, theme of the day, 20 points. 20
for these women's games here.
Those guys came and played for real.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we now have a guest. As you guys see someone sitting in, this is one of the vendors.
I like
is here
Tiger chain.
at
Thank you,
the
thank you,
SWAC
thank you.
tournament. I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about who he is and what he does.
As you see, I'm representing Grambling. Jeremy Winters. Our company is Winters Industries.
Looks good, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And
until you get beat, you're still the defending champions.
right. Hey, man, don't tell me nothing until you beat us. You know what I'm saying? So, we're here vending. I appreciate everybody coming out to the booth, supporting us, showing love, man. This is our first SWAC tournament to participate in.
Okay.
I'm super excited about it. I'm glad they came here to Atlanta because I get to sleep in my own bed tonight. I'm used to traveling around the country and all
That's
that
a little
stuff.
different, huh?
Yeah, whenever I can stay at home, man, it's a good thing, man.
Good.
So,
Well,
yeah.
tell us a little bit about this one before we get into what you have. Tell us a little bit how you got in the business.
All right, so I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. I was always an artist, and upon graduating in Grambling, I opened up a clothing store in Grambling.
Oh, wow.
And as a member of the fraternity, going to the district meeting, seeing all of the clothes and everything they were selling, we started selling our own clothes.
You saw some stuff that you wanted that you couldn't get. You created your own, huh?
I saw some stuff that I felt like I could do better.
Right?
Right?
I like
So
that. I like that.
That was my thing. I said, let me get creative with it. That being said, we decided, let's get licensed with the entire D9. My wife is a Delta.
Okay.
And then as we progress into the entire D9, I love Grambling. I represent Grambling 100%.
I can tell.
I'm always participating in Grambling functions. We got the license with Grambling.
Smart.
We would always do the Bayou Classic, and then it just expanded from there. So now we're up to like 18 schools that we got a license for.
Okay.
And I've been loving it.
How many years has this been?
So we started the company about 20 years ago with the one license. Well, if I'm being honest, I didn't have a license at first.
Yep.
I just started.
Everybody started off as a T-shirt man.
Yeah, everybody's a bootleg guy at first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Until they,
Even Tyler Perry was a bootleg man.
well, they bootleg Tyler, but that's all.
He was bootlegging himself.
Correct. But during that time, I realized, okay, there's a serious market here. So let's buckle down. Let's do this the right way. And then, it's expensive getting into it. So we started one organization at a time, built our portfolio out. And as you begin to build those relationships, your business starts to grow. So now we're doing that with the HBCUs. We're taking everything we learned there and we're bringing it over here.
Final question I have before I shift and let AD get in some questions. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what do you have over there in the creative side that you mentioned earlier? How your stuff is a little different than maybe what people can get other places.
And that's a great question.
Thanks.
So most of the people that sell HBCU apparel, they buy from distributors, manufacturers.
Okay.
And it's probably about a dozen to 15 like big ones where everybody buy from them. And that's great. But when you come to Winters Industries, I want you to come over there and say, I've never seen this before. Everything over there I designed, my wife designed, somebody on my team designed. I would always go to I'm a Bears fan, Chicago. I would always see these at the NFL games. You don't see them in HBCU games a lot. I say, you know what? Let's bring the turnover chains to the HBCU space and blow that thing out. So, you know, we have hats, shirts, sweaters, jackets. You know, our motto is if you can think it, we can ink it. So that's what we do.
Yeah. Now, I noticed the hat, you've got the Jordan logo on the hat, and then you've got the 23 around it. Is that something that you did, or do you have Nike, Adidas, Jordan, etc. that you add your own design to, or how do you deal with the make brand?
No. So at one point we would buy garments so I just bought this off the shelf for myself. I like the color scheme.
Okay. Yeah, I like that because you mix it up with a brand that is out there that considered bigger than most. Right. You add the HBCU flair to it, and you get to kind of have a little bit of
correct. And listen, all my older guys out here, listen. You never listen. Just look. Never do the Grambling shoes, the Grambling sweater, the Grambling hat. That's too much. That's too much. I'm still I don't want to be pops, right? So I'm still living in my uncdom. All right.
Hey, and then the other part of that, he's a member of a fraternity, Omega Psi Phi.
Correct.
I'm an Alpha Phi Alpha. We call it double pair. Don't do all that.
Don't do that triple parry. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I just don't do that. So at one point I would buy like Champion or Nike stuff and print on it. But now we've got to the point we've got our own factories. I got factories in Pakistan, China, and Mexico that all work for us. They do other stuff, big. But we go directly to the source, right?
And also allows you to sell at a cheaper price because you don't have the overhead that a lot of folks have to do if they're not getting it done.
Correct. And if you are a supporter of companies like ours, small businesses, black businesses that get their stuff from overseas, the prices are going up.
Right.
Don't be upset at us. All right.
I'm glad you get that out there.
Tariffs are a real thing. Y'all hear that stuff on the news about it. I don't want to get political, but I want to tell y'all it affects everybody's bottom line. And when you come over to my shop and you say, "Man, I paid $40 for that last year. That was last year. It's $47 now."
Exactly.
Right. So don't kill us. It's blame the government.
But it's important that you tell that story.
Yeah, they
so
need
folks
to know.
Don't think that you are just price gouging. It's about still trying to keep that market price.
Correct.
And as you said, you're keeping it as cheap as you can because you're going direct distributor.
Correct.
So a lot of other places they're going to get it's going to be even higher than the 47.
Right. And that doesn't just apply to us. If you go buy a car right now, it's probably going to be 20% more than what it was last year.
Hell, I thought about going into the egg business, selling them little.
Hey, man, I'm finna give me a chicken coop next week, kid. Hey, chickens. Hey, you ain't got to feed them. They take care of themselves, man.
Hey, you already went to school in the country, so you might have a little experience.
Hey, my wife from Shreveport, man. She don't care, man. She get out there with the chickens. It's all good. It's all good.
All right. Go ahead. The two things before we get out of here. Number one, for those who are in the Atlanta Metro, tell them where they can come over and actually touch, feel, and see your product. And then for those who are not in the Atlanta Metro, how they can find you online.
I appreciate you. So our store is right in Fairburn. It's 91 Howell, Fairburn Avenue. Probably about 15 minutes from Atlanta Airport. We're on the south side. About 10 minutes from here, actually. So if you're in the Atlanta area, South Fulton area, come on by to our shop. We'd love to see you. If you're not in the area, you can shop wintersindustries.com. You can find us there. And also, I want to tell y'all about this new reality show that we have. It's called Ventures, right? It's independently shot. It's me, my wife, my family. It follows us around the country. If it's at a football game, if it's at a D9 event, it shows the behind the scenes of operating the business, what it's like going to work with my wife, going home with my wife, all of that good stuff. And it's
the
positive.
long day.
Yeah. It's real positive. You won't see the ratchet activity on Ventures.
I'll check it out.
If that's what you're coming for, it's not the show for you. But if you want to learn about business, learn about family dynamics and all that, check it out. It's on YouTube. All you got to do is type in Ventures, VENDTURES. We just wrapped up season 1. We're shooting season 2 right now. And I just can't wait for you guys to check that out.
Well, so you said it wasn't ratchet, so we won't find it on Tubi then.
Right.
Hey man, put some respect on Tubi.
My
Tubi,
bad,
all
my bad.
So actually, to let
Okay.
you guys know, we're actually talking with Mr. Winters now about getting that on the network.
All right,
So
that'd be awesome.
you'll be able to see it coming through the Black College Sports Network and Urban Digital TV real
I think
soon.
it'd be the perfect place for it. Let me ask you
Oh yeah, me too.
two final questions.
Yes,
One,
sir.
I'm gonna get you back in the game mode and put you on the clock a little bit here. But the first one is for the licenses. Do you have? Are you able to do any special items with those licenses? If somebody comes in and they might pick up one of those designs, but then they want to do something, are you able to do anything like that?
Yeah, we do that.
I know it's more expensive when you ask.
It is. So what we do is oftentimes like alumni groups, they'll
Okay,
come to us and say, "Hey, can you make this for our alumni chapter here in Montgomery?"
Okay.
Or yeah, we can do that. And we have a unique platform in that we'll set it up, put it on our website. So let's say you want to do it for your group. I'll give you the link. You share it with the body. Everybody orders there. And then once we get to a certain number, then we'll go into production. That helps you because you don't have to run behind everybody and collect the money. I need the money by next Friday. None of that. Everybody goes in and they order it. And in the past, it'll be a situation where now you get it and now you got to give everything to everybody. We take that out of your hands. We fulfill it and ship it directly
So
to
it's
everybody.
almost like an Amazon type.
Correct. We provide
really
you with
nice.
that. And
That's really nice. That's
yeah,
good
and
business
we started that with the fraternity and sorority chapters because you think about it, homecoming, they need 50 shirts. They don't want to have to run up behind everybody. We do all of that for you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. That's big at Prairie View, particularly for our chapter. You have different line anniversaries that do it, and then we have a chapter church.
Right.
And now one of the problems we have is collecting all that and people having to take all that time. Now we can say, here, this is the only shirt, and you can do it all right there. Money's there. I like all that.
And you're right. You know what always happens? You get 50 shirts, and then Brother Jones say, it wasn't no extra large in there. He didn't get it. No. You ain't got to worry about that.
It's all done.
We do all that. You get a tracking number, shows fulfilled and all that. And a lot of people use it as fundraisers as well.
All right. Well, I want to take it back to the basketball side.
Let's go.
The Southern Grambling game. Did you get to sneak, and watch any of that? Because I know you're working, whatever. But as that game came to the end, I know you had to sit back and be like, "Hey, I'm going to check this out." Well, how did you do that?
So to be honest, I left. I think we were down like 15.
Yeah, it was tough.
I left. I had to go to the store and grab some stuff. And I'm heading back, and my cousin called me and said, "We won, we won." I said, "Ain't no way. So the way I
That's
see
real.
it,
That's why you got to be.
Hey, man, I'm going to take this from my man Shannon Sharp. SUTU, ICU, Grambling and 5.
Well, it's a pleasure being.
Same here, man.
Wait, I got Mr. Child on the way out.
What's up?
We got the band who pledged the purple and gold with the black and gold on, and the man who pledged the black and gold who goes to the school with the purple and gold. I just had to mess with y'all.
It's all good. He got the purple part right. So we cool.
He certainly got the black and gold.
I got no problem with this man.
None either. With that, we're going to take a break, come back on the other side, and close it out before things get started.
Yes, sir. We got
pleasure to meet you again.
16 minutes before
tip. 16 minutes to tip. So,
all right, brother. I'm going to get back to work.
I'll come over there and get some cards because I want to make sure we can do that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank y'all.
It's my pleasure. Great interview.
yeah, I saw that.
Like a rock star, party like a rock star. Actually, hold on. Let me see. Is your boy down there? I was looking for Holloman. Holloman. All right. Y'all ready to come on back? All right. Hello and welcome back to the Gateway Center here in College Park, Georgia. We are here for the Starry 2025 SWAC basketball tournament presented by Buick. Having fun doing what we do. AD Drew is in the building. It's the BCSN GameTime show. So the BCSN Sports Wrap and the man behind all the other men, propping everybody up, pushing everybody forward. It is the dean of HBCU sports himself, Dr. Kenyatta Camille. So how you guys doing, man? What is this? This is the environment that we talk about. And today's Wednesday. It was the same way yesterday. Drew was here. The environment was electric. I think this is something that as we get it and we're able to grow it, people start finding out more information about it.
Yep.
It is going to really get to the point where it is going to be, I would argue to say, at least 50% capacity on your early days. Next year, it starts on Monday. We had a commissioner on early. Talk to us a little bit about it. And he said the teams will come in and practice it on Sunday. Games will start on Monday. Doc, let's talk about, you briefly touched on it. I definitely wanted to get your opinion on just the overall move to the Atlanta market for the tournament.
I've always likened the idea of the Atlanta market. There's some bias for me. I always look at expansion in the next chapter, and this is not saying that this is something on the way. But when the football games were at NRG, back then I was saying that a perfect match would be to have the basketball championship in Atlanta. And a lot of folks looked at me and like, we don't have a team in the market. And this is, at the beginning stages of the celebration, it was taking off. I said, no, but you have a huge alumni base in that market. And you're always trying to expand your market footprint, especially in the cities where you have corporations that will sponsor you and support you. So I like the idea of the juxtaposition where you had the football championship game in Houston and the basketball championship in Atlanta. I know now that the football game has gone to the number one seed with the best record, which I'm fine with that because of the money dictates that. But when I heard the baseball tournament last 2 years ago was going to Atlanta, I was like, they're going to see what this does. And the baseball tournament that has solid followings, particularly early in the week, championship games in the SWAC has always had solid followings. And then you move to the fact that you saw it in Atlanta. You saw the crowds pick up during the week. And so when I heard that there was a chance that the basketball tournament would be coming to Atlanta, I said, wait and see. This is going to be a really good destination. Obviously, it's easy to fly in for the teams in the Houston, Prairie View, and the fans that travel. They can fly in relatively easy and inexpensive in a lot of ways if they plan ahead of time. The hotels being right next to the airport to come in, financially, that makes a ton of sense. It was really easy for me, as I said, when you first opened up. The fact that I literally got off out of the airport, where the tram, and then the train right over here. Walked out, walked to the hotel, checked my stuff in, then I walked to the rent. Got some extra steps in, but I didn't have to rent a car. Didn't have to call Lyft, Uber, ride share. Perfect. I love it. So I think financially that this is going to be a big thing. The other thing I like is that this is a 5-year deal. So you have time, as Roy was alluding to really build and grow this, where you can start investing some marketing dollars in it because you get the turnaround time to do it.
The one concern that I asked Dr. McClellan about this earlier would be HBCU basketball fatigue, because last week we had the SIAC championships here in Atlanta, followed a week later, not even a week later, 3 days later, by the SWAC basketball championship. So one thing we do have to be careful of, these two conferences, if they're both going to remain in Atlanta, are going to have to work together so that we don't get HBCU basketball fatigue. Now, the one thing that I saw at the SIAC tournament, which was hosted at Morehouse where I work at, I saw plenty of non-SIAC paraphernalia throughout the arena, throughout the week there. So I saw FAMU, I saw Jackson State, I saw Norfolk State, I saw Hampton, I saw Howard. So right now, I don't think that's a factor in 2025, but it is something that I just slightly think that we just have to make sure that we work together to make sure that doesn't happen.
I think that is something to always consider. I think we don't take enough credence that those are really two different markets.
Yes.
The SIAC has its own fan base, and the SWAC has its own fan base.
And there is a smaller percentage of crossover.
But it's small.
Yes.
You just said it. It's a small percentage of crossover. Largely, your SIAC fan base is going to be SIAC. As you said, you'll get some crossover, and then vice versa. Your major fan base here is going to be SWAC, and then you get some crossover. So I don't think fatigue is going to be that big an issue, but you always want to make sure that you're watching it. The other thing is there's a chance that I know the SEC is seriously looking and it wants the championship game here. So that in itself is something unique that it probably won't be back at Morehouse. It's going to be here if everything can work out scheduling.
And Doc, the other thing I would say about that, any other sport, I would probably agree with you a little bit more. But it's March and it's basketball.
Yes.
It's March and it's basketball. The entire world is centered around basketball from the third week of February through the end of March.
Right.
And there is no fatigue in basketball.
The other thing that is important about this is the price point. You get the fatigue more on if the price point gets way out of
$100 ticket.
Correct? If they can find a way, which I think they can based on this arena and the partnership they had with the city and the sports authority, right? That allows them in terms of the sponsorships they have and the number of vendor sponsorships to make sure they maintain a price point on the tickets that works for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
But you're right. If they allow it to creep too much, then that's when fatigue can be more of an issue.
Yeah. And something else, and a lot of people don't know, and I'll go ahead and put this out here publicly. The fact that although there are no SWAC institutions here in Atlanta, there are two HBCUs here in Atlanta that play basketball. And the reason I
play it at a high level, which I think is good for the SWAC, because fans get excited about HBCU basketball. And I think some of that will be able to be a positive rollover effect because people are excited about the basketball that's being played for HBCU. That is a positive thing.
Right. But the reason I was going to break that up is just the support that happened organically when this tournament came to town, because there are teams practicing at both of our facilities right now, and no charge or anything like that, just because they call, because we're supporting each other, because
that's big too.
That's key.
And the fact that you have those facilities here that allows them to be able to utilize
10-15 minutes away from where we're located at right now. It could be 30 minutes if you get caught in traffic, but that's a different story.
Doc, I left Lennon's comment up there for a minute.
Let me guess what Lennon said. It's not on our screen.
Not on the screen. Yeah. Oh, my bad. Yeah, it says, "Hey Drew, Morehouse and Clark on the way to the MEAC. Book it. I know Doc has been talking about.
No,
Not those two.
We'll let MEAC have Morehouse, but the SWAC wants Clark 11.
We're not going to have.
And if we need to have a duel, we'll take both.
Doc,
We're not.
We're here to talk basketball. We're not here to talk conference tournament.
I can talk. You can't.
Because I can't touch it with your 10-foot pole.
I can talk it. All I do is the numbers to explain it.
Yes.
And my man is Dr. Holloman, and there's a serious note churning there, and I'm sure they're doing their own churning, one planning to do whatever's necessary to keep those institutions. But for some reason, if he can't, I'm sure he's looking at how do you maneuver to have opportunities to continue to build,
right?
And if not, replace those two.
Right. But I will say Clark, Atlanta, and Morehouse. Clark via Atlanta University and Morehouse, two of the three original members of the SIAC, still in the conference along with Tuskegee.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, gentlemen, we've got to get ready to get out of here. It's 3:39 until the game starts. Go ahead, Doc.
Last one, I did want to give updates since I snuck it in there. Norfolk did win 77-70 over Maryland Eastern Shore. So they'll move in Friday for the semifinals, and they'll be rolling down there.
All righty.
All right.
Well, let's go ahead and let's get everything together. We're going to be shutting it down. The Tigers of Jackson State are getting ready to battle the Rattlers of Florida A&M University. As Doc called it, I don't know who want to say it's not a rivalry. They know it's a rivalry because we already don't like them and they already don't like us while we on the court, we on the field in every sport. So this is a conversation that they need to move Jackson State to the West so we can meet in the championships every year. But that's what it is. So, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. We're not going to do it afterwards because it's going to be late and we're going to be trying to go home. So we hope you've enjoyed us, but please tune in tomorrow. We'll be doing the same thing, getting ready for the game. Hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk to some of the coaches before we get going with some of those. But again, it's the BCSN Game Time show. Right now, the Sports Wrap inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the Dean himself. We'll be back tomorrow. You guys have a great evening.